What's going on, man? Today is February 21st, 2022, and I'm basically about to go over how I catch uptrends and downtrends. In this example, we're going to be going over an uptrend, but you can use these same steps to catch a downtrend, and I'm going to show you how. So basically, I start off on a daily time frame, and as you can see, it's like accumulation of candles right here, which is like a little supply area, right? And then it pushed all the way down to the bottom and it rejected, right? So this is a rejection resistance area, and then this is like a support area where a lot of people want to buy, right? So we know that this is the range that we're gonna be playing. And then the market gave us this little bearish hammer, or this bearish pin bar. So we know setups like this usually cause a morning star, and if it was the opposite way, it would have been an evening star, right? It would have been something like this, like an evening star at the top, and then at the bottom it's like a morning star. So I'm assuming that the market wants to go on an uptrend from here, right? So then what I do is drop down to the 4-hour time frame. And I'm basically looking at a double bottom, right, about to form. This is the first low of the double bottom. This is the second. So then the time frame that I trace the trend on, and I basically follow the trend on, is the 1-hour time frame, because now we already identified on the daily time frame that the market looks like it wants to go on an uptrend, because it gave us a strong rejection, then it gave us a bearish pin bar. But when you go to the 1-hour time frame, you see a double bottom. So now I'm like, okay, it looked like a damn trend finna happen. So now I basically got to follow the trend. So now I got to wait for 6 o'clock the next day for the market to basically show me what it's going to do. All right, so let's see, 6. All right, so boom, that white line is basically 6 o'clock, right? So now, let's say none of these white lines were here when I identified all that stuff. Now is the time where I want to basically identify with that stuff, right? So if we go back to the daily, we see that this area right here, where this basically where this 50% of this bearish pin bar, right? If the market comes up, that will make us a valid morning star, right? So we know that on the lower time frame, it's gonna break up, retest on here on this white line, and start to make the uptrend, right? As you can see happen now, because before it didn't show this candle, but now it's showing it, right? So we know that it's valid. The trend is valid because now we see that the market is pushing up. So now we go back to the 1 hour and we basically wait for that to happen. All right, so now it's gonna come down. It's gonna retest this little area on this line, and it's gonna push up from there, right? So basically the reason for the white lines is the other side of the trend. You basically want to show the different areas where the market is going to break structure and retest. Basically, it's going to do this. It's going to break above structure, retest it. Break above structure, retest it. Break above structure, retest it. And we want to catch all those entries each day, all a break and retest, no matter how it forms, right? So as you can see, it broke above this structure. Now it's retesting it. So let's see. Boom, you see that? It retested it and it made a higher low. So what I would do, once I see that it makes that higher low, I would actually draw that out, right? I would actually get the text and I'll say, okay, boom, higher low in caps. So I could follow the trend, right? So now I know that it made a higher low. Once it makes a higher high and comes back down, then I'll write that as a higher high. And that next low, it'll be another higher low. And every day I'm just smacking and I'm catching all these higher highs and higher lows. So I'm basically waiting for a higher low to form the next day, right? So I'll pull this to 6 and I'll basically wait for that next higher low and higher high. All right, so boom, you see that it pushed up right there, right? So remember, this is the push right here, the initial push, pushed all the way up. That was the first push. Gave us a higher high. All right, so we will put that as a higher high. And then this is a higher low also right here. See that? Boom. So this is a higher high. That's a higher low. Then it gave us another higher high, right? So we want to draw all this out so that we could keep track of what's going on, so we don't lose track of what's going on. So we see that this is a higher low right here, right? And this is approaching the next day at 6. It's approaching 6, right? So what do we see? We see that the market broke and made a new high above this previous high. And then it made a higher low coming down. And then it gave us this tweezer bottom, which got retested 50%. So then we look at it and we like, okay, cool. We know when tweezer bottoms are retested 50%, the market is most likely going to push up, right? So I basically will want either 50% of this wick right here or the break for that move to be valid, right? And that's why I'll be entering in either here or here, right? Most likely probably here, because I already see that it got retested 50%. So let's see how that plays out. Boom. See, so once it started to push up, if I didn't catch it here, I'd have caught it like right here or the break. And look how much it pushed up, right? So now it's making another higher high. It's giving us that next higher high, right? So now that's the move for the day. So then we go to 6 o'clock the next day, right? Because that's when we're going to catch our next trade. So the market overnight is going to make a higher high and it's going to come down around 6 the next day and make a higher low before pushing back up again. So let's see that play out. All right, see how it's coming back down to the low? See, so it gave us another higher high. And then it gave us that higher low for the next day, telling us, hey, the market is going to push up again, guys. Like, that's basically what it's telling us, playing upon tables, right? So let that play out. And then we're going to see like a candlestick pattern, right here. It's going to engulf above there. It'll be either a bullish engulfing or a tweezer bottom. But once it breaks the high of this previous candle, that's the confirmation of us pushing up to the upside, right? So let's see, at the higher low around 6. So look, boom, you see that? Once it broke that, that was our entry right there. And look how much pips it flew up. Look how much pips that was. That was around 200 pips right there. See that? Boom, 200 pips right there for the day. See that? So yeah, that's basically how I catch a trend. That's basically the quick. This is basically in a nutshell, right? Playing upon tables in a nutshell how I catch it. Now let's look at how it looks on a daily time frame. So boom, you see that it flipped around, made these higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, all every day until it finally came up and hit the resistance area of this accumulation of all these candlesticks, right? And then we will look for it to either flip back down or break above this, retest, and keep going on the uptrend. But most likely, since this is like a supply area right here, it's going to flip back down. You feel me? Like, you just have to learn how to really read this chart and really break it down. And yeah, man, that's basically how you do it, bro. It's basically how you do it. So I'm out of here. Peace.